Black Alpha Network. Home of Black excellence. Power to the people.
All these rip-offs and all these kidnaps and all these murders and all these jailings, the beat goes on. And it goes on strong. I know that. I said it before I went to jail. I'm back now and I may be going again. But if I do go, if you don't say anything else, then the last thing I heard him say was that you can jail a revolutionary, but you can't jail a revolutionary. We're going back up to the mountaintop. We're going to say that I am a revolutionary.
That time again, certified time. Okay, here we go. Man, it feels so good right now to be locked in with the family, and we are absolutely locked in with the family. This is what happens when you get a whole bunch of certifieds in the same place at the same time, and we are definitely in the same place today. Zoned in, tapped in, locked in, all in, just how I like it. And that's exactly how it has to be. We got to be locked in 24/7, side by side 24/7, and letting the whole world know what it is. Because this generation's different, this era's different, we move different, and everybody sees it. And we've been very, very lineage strong. And we gonna take it even a step further today. They've been getting that certified introduction, and they've been fucking around and finding out on a day-to-day. Trust and believe, every single day, there's somebody out there fucking around and they finding out. What are they finding out? They finding out that certified foundational Black American freedmen ain't nothing to fuck with. This is a whole different time and space, and you better come in here, wipe your feet, salute, show respect, and bow the fuck down if you ever come in our presence, because that's how thorough we are right now. And I'm serious, this ain't no game to us. We love our lineage, our heritage, and our culture just as much as anybody. See, everybody else been riding around, allowed to love themselves, allowed to love their community. It's only a bad thing when we love ourselves. They've been putting their lineage on shirts and having parades and having small little towns in our neighborhoods, putting their flag in the sky, waving it all in our face. They out here taunting us. Fuck that. It ain't happening no more. This is all gonna be about certified foundational Black American freedmen, lineage strong, and if they don't like it, they gonna fuck around and find out. And when I say fuck around and find out, I ain't talking about one little town, one little state, one little country. No, I'm talking about the whole world. And what are they gonna find out? They're gonna find out that certified foundational Black American freedmen ain't nothing to fuck with. Never have been, never will, but this era right now today is gonna let it be known loud and clear. Don't believe me? Just watch. Everybody been getting that smoke. Everybody been getting that work. Republicans fucking around and finding out. Democrats fucking around and finding out. Politicians fucking around and finding out. Coons fucking around and finding out. Sambos fucking around and finding out. Tethers fucking around and finding out. Fleedmen fucking around and finding out. Fleers fucking around and finding out. Butter biscuit chasers fucking around and finding out. Tap dancers fucking around and finding out. Every off-code celebrity, dancer, singer, actor, and anybody who is in opposition to certified foundational Black American reparations are fucking around and finding out, and we have been the ones letting them know. Yes, indeed. I told you I was turned up today, family. I told you I could feel that vibe in the air and the energy was strong. This that Freedman energy, and there ain't nothing like it in the world. We said we was gonna take all the energy, all the momentum, and all the gains from last year, and we was gonna bring it into this year and start it off with a bang. Well, there goes that goddamn bang. Yes, sir. Damn. Hey, all that was just the introduction. So you know this episode about to be hot fire. They can't even handle us when we get started, family. So you know they can't handle us when we get going, and we about to keep it going, keep it real, and keep it FBA all day. Black Alpha Network, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash that like button, and we about to do what we always do best over here, and that is giving them that certified work. Let's go. And when you giving them that certified work and you say fuck around and find out, family, you know that only comes with receipts. And at this stage, we done gave out so many fucking receipts, they done lost count. We giving out receipts day to day, step for step. We putting addresses on it, names, first, middle, last. We putting their faces in that Jumbotron, their faces on that big ass Summer Jam screen, exposing them. The power of roasting is real, and we are living proof. Name me one person who done came in foundational Black Americans or even said the slightest off-code shit that we didn't roast. We done roasted them all. How many pages have been deactivated because they done got out of pocket with FBA. I'm talking about Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Motherfucker have 3 million friends, 3 million followers, a bunch of subscribers, and they'll deactivate that page in 2 seconds because FBA done got on their neck. That's what we do. We handle our business and we do it in such a thorough fashion because that's how we're crafted. No games, no filter, straight to the point. And when you're straight to the point, things get done very quickly because we ain't got no time to waste. We got too much money to make. And speaking of getting direct, we're to the point now where we calling out motherfuckers before they even do the coon shit. If we just see coon in your fucking eyeballs, we calling your ass out. Once your eye gets to partially bucking, we on your motherfucking neck, straight up and down. It don't matter. Before a coon wakes up in the morning and takes their first coon breath, we exposing their ass. Before a coon gets out of his bed and takes his first coon step for the day, we exposing their ass. Because this is what we do. And that's why everybody is shook right now, because they not used to an era where we don't play no games. They not used to an era where we tell it like it is. And they not used to an era where every time they fuck around, we make sure their ass find out. And we've been making sure they find out in a real way. But since we cashing receipts, and since we giving out that direct energy, we gonna start with a guy, and all y'all know who this is. This motherfucker done broke every coon record available. I ain't lying. This motherfucker won the Butter Biscuit of the Year award. He was the Tap Dancer of the Year. He was the Sambo of the Year. He was the Supporting Coon of the Year. He was the Lead Coon of the Year. This motherfucker swept every award at the Golden Coon Awards. He got a standing ovation. They gave his ass a lifetime supply of Butter Biscuits. With the goddamn frosting, with the syrup. He got the motherfucking coon syrup. They gave his ass the pancakes. Now y'all know they only give the pancakes to a special coon. This motherfucker got the biscuits and the pancakes and the goddamn syrup with the goddamn sprinkles. I'll be damned. The motherfucker ended the year cooning and started the year cooning. The clock didn't even strike 12 at midnight and this motherfucker was already in full coon mode. No coon days off. No coon days off. Exactly. And if you don't know by now who I'm talking about, we're talking about this guy.
Black man, another statistic. It hurts, but it's worth repeating, people, not just for Plexico Burris, but for all professional black athletes today, especially the ones who continuously display an affinity for lawlessness and trifling behavior, especially the ones who continuously display an affinity for lawlessness and trifling behavior, lawlessness and trifling behavior, lawlessness and trifling behavior. Benefit of the doubt gets replaced by a presumption of guilt for themselves, their contemporaries, and those in pursuit of similar success. And where exactly does that end up leaving black America?
Man, goddamn. You know it's sad when you want to be the only coon in the room. See, that's what he is. This is why he a special coon. Because he don't want anybody else to be tap dancing. He want to be the only tap dancer. He doesn't want anybody else to be butter biscuit chasing. He wants to be the only butter biscuit chaser. He doesn't want anybody else to get their coon on unless it's going to be him. He's one of these guys where he gets jealous at other coons. See, he don't like us certifieds who are on code, but you know who he hates more than us? He hates other coons. He got coon on coon crime. Yes, coon on coon crime. He doesn't like anybody taking all the coon energy and the coon spotlight away from him. He thinks if somebody gonna get some butter biscuits, he wants them all. He don't want to share. This motherfucker don't want to share his cooning. It's all his and only his. Now, I want y'all to notice that whenever he's talking about black folks, he sounds like this.
And oh, by the way, black people, when you saw somebody's ass get kicked and you didn't do anything, does that mean that you were an advocate of them getting their ass kicked? Did you watch the film that Kyrie Irving put a link on his Twitter page? Does that mean you're anti-Semitic? What does it mean? But we don't look at the big picture and the collateral damage enough. Instead, we're the only group of people who questions somebody else's ethnicity when we disagree with each other.
Okay, and whenever he's talking about the dominant society, he sounds like this.
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones, and I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened.
See the difference? And that's what we talking about. First off, this guy spent a whole motherfucking 2 years talking about Kyrie Irving. Anytime they was talking about something that had to do with basketball, sports, politics, he would always pivot the conversation back to Kyrie Irving. This motherfucker fell asleep thinking about Kyrie. Kyrie was living in this motherfucker's head rent free. You know why? It's because he cannot tolerate somebody like Kyrie Irving who thinks for himself. See, he can't stand anybody who has their own thoughts, anybody who has their own beliefs or anybody who represents their own community. He's so used to Zaddy handing him his thoughts with a ribbon tied around it. He's so used to taking orders that he's got a problem with anybody else who doesn't. And you've seen this since day one. Now, it's funny how anytime it's a black person, this motherfucker is screaming A. Smith, yelling, feuding, fighting. He done picked a fight with every single black athlete. He done beef with Kevin Durant. He done beef with LeBron James. He done beef with Kyrie Irving. He done beef with T.O. He done beef with Adrian Peterson. I mean, you name it. Go down the list, and all they do on that show is drag black people, and he's the one on the front of the line. That show wouldn't even be on air if it wasn't for dragging black athletes. That's all they do. Literally, every single day, they drag black athletes. You ain't seen them say one thing about anybody from the dominant society. Never. As a matter of fact, anytime he even mentions somebody from the dominant society, his voice changes. This motherfucker's got a Sambo tone. He'll start talking real soft and real smooth and delicate when he's talking about the dominant society because he's trying to let his handlers and Zaddy know, I'm not mad. See the difference? See, when he starts talking to black folks, he starts yelling and screaming. But when he starts talking about the dominant society, he starts talking soft and delicate. This is the person who coons so hard that you can tell who they love by their tone. That's how much it is, because he knows he's a professional Sambo. He knows how to send out signals to the dominant society so they don't get mad at him. He's never apologized for what he's ever said about us, but he's apologized to everybody else. He said something about Ray Rice, a black man, and we're going to get to that in a minute. He said something about Ray Rice, and the W women on the network got mad at him, and next thing you know, he came back with that bullshit apology. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't really think about it when I said it. It was the worst mistake of my life. Right here.
Good morning. On Friday, speaking right here on First Take on the subject of domestic violence, I made what can only amount to the most egregious error of my career. While elaborating on thoughts concerning the NFL's ruling versus Ray Rice, following a domestic dispute with his then fiance, I ventured beyond the scope of our discussion by alluding to a woman's role in such heinous matters, going so far as to use the word provoke in my diatribe. My words came across that it is somehow a woman's fault. This was not my intent. It is not what I was trying to say. Yet the failure to clearly articulate something different lies squarely on my shoulders. To say what I actually said was foolish is an understatement. To say I was wrong is obvious. To apologize, to say I'm sorry, doesn't do the matter its proper justice, to be quite honest. To apologize, to say I'm sorry, doesn't do the matter its proper justice, to be quite honest. But I do sincerely apologize.
But yet he says nothing but egregious things about black folks every goddamn day. Nobody says anything. He applies crime to black folks. All ESPN, all the whole sports world, NFL, NBA, MLB, all that shit is $100 million slaves, and they drag black folks all day long. You got the motherfucking athletes who do the slaving, and then you got all these little news broadcasters and anchors who drag your ass for everything you do. That's all it is. It's like being at the fucking slave auction. I know they don't like hearing that shit, but it is what it is. Because half the things that they say about athletes, they'll never say to me and you out here in these streets. They'll never say, because we ain't got nothing to lose. I ain't worried about no motherfucking NFL contract. I ain't worried about checking somebody on site because they said some off-coded coon shit about my people. I ain't scared. See, all these athletes, they sit back and try to go tick for tack with them, have all these debates, have little Twitter feuds. Man, we ain't doing none of that shit. You say something, it's pull-up season. That's how we get down. Athletes are scared, and he understands that. He understands he can say whatever he wants, and those producers are from the dominant society. Those directors are from the dominant society. Those companies and those sister companies are all for the dominant society. So he understands when he put his name on that dotted line, you say negative things about black folks, and you're going to always have a job. You done had people who were on that show who were W's who have came and went, and he's still there. He's been dragging black folks ever since the beginning. And you see it every single time he talks. A black person gets a parking ticket, he'll blame the whole black community. A black person gets a jaywalking ticket, he'll blame the whole black community. Every single thing that an athlete does, he'll try to get tough with black folks. Every single thing that a W does, he'll make excuses for the dominant society. That's exactly what goes on all the time on this show. So what you're seeing right now is the guy from the UFC, Dana White. There's a video that came out of Dana White slapping his wife. Straight up on camera. Ain't hearsay, ain't what we kind of think might happen. On camera, he slapped his wife. And guess what? You didn't hear a peep from the news cycle for days. The only reason the news cycle even brought it up is the only reason they ever bring up anything that the dominant society does is because of us at the Black Grassroots. Family, ain't I always saying how the Black Grassroots break stories or keep stories afloat when they try to bury them? Anytime somebody from the dominant society does something, whether it's Dana White hitting his wife or it's a race soldier, they always try to cover it and hide it. And then we bring it to light by retweeting it, by talking about it, by always keeping it in the news cycle. And then they're forced to acknowledge it. But whenever they do acknowledge it, they try to minimize it to the most, and they typically send out Stephen A. Sambo to do that in the sports world. See, he's the sports world's go-to coon anytime he's trying to slander the black community and anytime he's trying to minimize the dominant society. They'll call him up on the phone, y'all know the number, 1-900-COON, and he'll go on TV and he'll start tap dancing and talk all that, well, you know, I just believe and I'm not sure. Now, when it comes to a black person, he's yelling, he's screaming, he can't even catch his goddamn coon breath. But when it comes to the dominant society, he makes it clear that he is only there to provide cover. That's his job. That's what he's paid to do. That's what he continues to do. So when you watch this show, soon as they start bringing up Dana White, who once again slapped his wife on camera, and you ain't heard it peep from anybody, and the dominant society tried to bury it, you ain't seen nobody from the Me Too movement come out. They've been hush-hush about the whole situation. You see Stephen A. Sambo and Molly. Molly is the lady on the show, or should I say a BDJ. You don't know what a BDJ means? Okay. The B in the beginning stands for black. The J at the end stands for junkie. And go ahead and figure out what the D in the middle stands for. It's something every black man has. Okay, now say that all together in your head. Exactly. Straight up junkie. Y'all all know what a BDJ is. Kim Kardashian is a BDJ. Her sister's a BDJ. Her mama was a BDJ. Her great-great-grandmama was probably a BDJ. All they asses. Dirty. She done been with every black man on that show. Jalen Rose. As a matter of fact, I heard she left Jalen Rose to be with Stephen A. Smith. So you know she filthy. Straight up. Who the hell is with Stephen A. Smith? Anyway, so Stephen A. Sambo and BDJ, they went on that show and they was making every goddamn excuse in the book. They was tap dancing. Now, anytime it's a brother like LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball, if y'all remember LeVar Ball, he was the father of those two basketball players. And he was on the show and she said something to him and he made a joke. He made a joke. And she got upset and went and got him banned off ESPN forever. You see what I'm talking about? Anytime it's a black man, she does what every Karen does. She plays victim and then tries to go get him in trouble. She sat there and did the same thing with Kyrie Irving. She's sitting there nodding her head every time Stephen A. Smith says something. She said the same thing with the football player Adrian Peterson when Stephen A. Smith was talking down on him, sitting there nodding her head saying, yeah, Adrian Peterson whooped his kid and they tried to take his kid away from him. And ESPN, Stephen A. Sambo and Molly, BDJ had a whole fucking segment talking about how black men's is violent. I ain't lying, telling you the truth. That's exactly what happens because this show is nothing but a tear down black man show and they use it by going after the black athlete. And the black athletes sit back and they take that shit. We don't. We gonna call their asses out. We gonna expose them. We gonna put them names on that goddamn Summer Jam screen. Fuck the name. We gonna put the face and the address. Everybody. So you know exactly who we talking about. So when you seen Dana White, the W man from the UFC, all of a sudden their energy changed. They was talking about he's our friend and we don't judge him by his lowest moment. You've been sitting there judging black men by their highest moment.
Well, what do you do about that? Come with a definitive answer.
To me, it's still premature because there's 22 lawsuits, there's 22 civil suits. I don't know whether he's won or lost. That's why I think it's premature by the Cleveland Browns to give this man the most guaranteed money ever, $230 million.
Okay, fair enough.
So we don't have those answers. So let me just say that.
Okay.
So first of all, I already think the rule's egregious in terms of 6 games for abusing children, women, sexual assault, domestic violence. All right, that rule needs to be changed. That's a minimum of 1 season. So Deshaun Watson, if all these 22 women lied on him and he wins every civil case, right? All 22 of them, go for it, break the bank. But that's not where we are right now, and we need more information. We need more information also from the Browns on how they got here, how the NFL got here to make this decision. To answer your question,
right,
Stephen A., and I understand it's a direct question, I just wanted to make those points, but as far as Deshaun Watson in terms of punishment, if he's losing these cases, he should not be playing this entire season.
Guilty in the legal system, so what do you do with that investigation?
But I agree with Molly.
How is he not guilty in the legal system for assault?
I don't
understand. I just saw
the DA's office. I know, Molly. I'm going to be honest.
He hit it, kicked her. How is he not in legal trouble for this?
Really? The same Cam who's so brand conscious, he was scared to speak up on behalf of Colin Kaepernick until the president started name-calling the players. As for men like Roddy White, who don't get it, tweeting, "Why is people making a fuss about Cam and the woman reporter?" He laughed, then answered her question, "But it was funny for the first time for me, too." Roddy, let me ask you this. As an African-American male in this country, how do you feel when constant stereotypes are perpetuated against you? Stinks, right? I know.
That's all they do, and we know exactly what it is. And for most of us, we've been calling this shit out for a long time. All these little sports shows that be out here going in on black folks, that be dragging black athletes, and you sit there and watch these coon anchors. I mean, think about it. Stephen A. Smith, a sports anchor, we know what he is. Shannon Sharp, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Jason Whitlock. I mean, you name it. Is there any anchor in sports that is on code? Is there any? None. Every single anchor in sports on any of these networks is absolutely coonified. Yes, they are. That is a prerequisite to even be on there. That's why we say it is $100 million plantation. And that's why all these little combines and these football measuring shows, they look exactly like the slave auction. Exactly. They got brothers with their shirts off getting measured. And the dominant society sitting there in the corner saying, ooh, I'll take him. I'll take the big one. I'll take him right there. He looks fast. He can pick cotton really as goods. That's all it is. And that's their job, is to talk all of that coon stuff. Now check this out. There was also a coach from Texas, okay? And he was fired for strangling his fiance. And they ain't say nothing about that. As a matter of fact, Stephen A. Sambo, he was on there saying that same soft ass talk. I've said that Dana White has spoken out against men who put their hands on women. So that's all it takes. Just speak out against it, and then you can afford yourself to go do it. A black person could put out an essay on not putting their hands on a woman, and let them do it, there'd be no excuses. If you listen to that whole fucking conversation, you heard he was drunk. Family, they used the he was drunk excuse. They would never allow that for a black person who was sober. If a black person came out and did anything on camera, as a matter of fact, a guy named Kareem Hunt, he was the brother who I think he laid out a couple Beckys and Karens. Check him out. He plays for, I want to say, the Cleveland Browns. He used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. A video came out of him harming a couple Karens, and they didn't ever say nothing about him being drunk. They didn't ever say nothing about him getting hit first. They didn't make no excuses. And this whole conversation with Stephen A. Sambo and Molly BDJ, the whole conversation, he was drunk. He's came out and spoke against it before. We don't judge him by his worst moments. It was littered with excuses. Excuses they would never give to a black person. It does not even matter. We've seen black people be the victims. We've seen black folks be in a position of self-defense. And they'll start blaming the victim, who's the black person, and they'll start making excuses for the culprit, who's a W. That's what they do. You got camera footage of black men being harmed and then defending themselves. And then the whole goddamn hour-long segment is, why did he defend himself? Why did he fight back? He shouldn't have really did it. I'll tell you what they'll never say. They'll never say, well, he was drunk. Family, they using this motherfucker was drunk as an excuse. That's how low these motherfuckers get when they out here tap dancing and butter biscuit chasing. That's exactly what Stephen A. Sambo is doing. And not only do they make excuse after excuse, they talk so somber, they talk so defeated, they talk so minute, because everything they're doing is to try to minimize the dominant society's savagery and try to inflate black folks who are just living good citizens. We know the exact motherfucking play, and if you watch it, it plays itself out time and time again, and it did in this whole tap dancing session, because that's all that shit was. That's all that was. They had them butter biscuit banjos playing, and they was tap dancing, putting on the show for massa. That's exactly what it is, because if you do not tap dance and put on the show for massa, if you put down your butter biscuit banjo, then your ass ain't gonna have a seat at that table.
On the inordinate amount of times we've had to address subjects like this, we have to maintain consistency in pointing out, you do not put your hands on a woman if you are a man. You do not do it. Dana White knows that. And, all I can say is that, again, he has spoken out against men who put their hands on women before. And whatever punishment you would exact under these circumstances to somebody else is what he should apply to himself. But I love him, and I love him, and I love him, and I love him, and I love him.
I could see him doing something even stricter just because he's the leader, and he's the leader of men.
And then he says, whatever punishment you would exact on somebody else, you should exact on him. That's funny, Because when it comes to a black person, he's not sitting there saying, whatever punishment you should give to everybody else. We have to be consistent. When it comes to a black person, he's playing the goddamn judge, the jury, and the executioner. He's naming names and dates. He's saying he needs to get 85 days suspended. He needs to get kicked off the team. We should call the police on him. He gets very specific with punishment when you start talking about a black person. But as soon as you start talking about his favorite zaddy, all of a sudden he's, well, whatever punishment is, then we should give it to him and we should be consistent. Basically what he's saying is don't punish him. Give him a slap on the wrist, a supremacist slap on the wrist. The same thing all of them W's got when they ran into Capitol Hill on January 6th. The same thing all these W's get when they out here harming black folks over broken taillights. That's basically what he's saying. Give them the softest punishment, and we don't know what that is, and let's just make sure that it's nice so Zaddy can go home and tuck himself in bed at night. That's exactly what the fuck it is. When it comes to a black person, he gets specific. He's naming names, dates. He's making suggestions. He's literally telling them, throw the book at the black person. Remember our sister Sha'Carri Richardson when she got caught smoking weed and they tried to take away, they took away her opportunity to perform at the Olympics, knowing she would have won. Did y'all hear Stephen A. Smith ever coming out saying, well, whatever the punishment was before, we should enact that punishment on her? Nah, he didn't say nothing. You know why he never talked about punishment for everybody else and giving her the same punishment? Because that means that we'd have to be on the same playing field as the dominant society. That means we'd all have to get the slaps on the wrist that they get. And he did not want her to get a slap on the wrist. He wanted them to throw the book at her. And he came out with that same screaming, angry shit, that same, it's the blacks' problem. Matter of fact, every time somebody smokes weed, he's got that whole saying where he says, stay off the weed. And I've seen him personally contribute smoking weed to black people. Open. Like this motherfucker didn't even hide it. He says, weed, black, weed, black, weed, black. When literally you have W's out there saying they don't only smoke weed, they smoke weed in the locker room. And they sell weed. As a matter of fact, when our sister Sha'Carri Richardson got in trouble for weed, one of those W women who play soccer, she came out and said not only does she smoke it, she was out there promoting her goddamn dispensary. Ain't nobody say a motherfucking thing. Not one word. But when it came to our sister, a black woman, it was enact full punishment. Stephen A. Smith don't say any of that. Matter of fact, listen to him right here connecting black folks with weed.
Weed. You come on now, and then you come on TV, and you come on national TV. Oh, Stephen A., you gotta look out. Look out for what? Weed? Weed? Really? You can't smoke weed. Period. Weed. Stay off the weed. Who are you, Snoop Dogg in the green room? I mean, what the hell is going on? You want to sit there and stay on the weed, and you can't stay off the weed. It's stay off the weed. Millions of dollars, and you can't stay off the weed.
First off, he thinks that shit is funny. That shit was lame as hell. I don't know what the fuck. I guess they thought that was gonna be like a funny segment that everybody was gonna talk about and get t-shirts. Man, that shit was corny as a motherfucker. Just like his Fleedman forehead and his tether hairline. His Fleedman forehead is 5 days early. His tether hairline is 3 months late. Get that shit correct, homeboy, and don't talk about our lineage. Point blank. So you see him right here talking all that enact and all that. He'll literally 1 minute when it comes to black folks talk about throwing a book at him, and then he talks all that soft shit when it comes to the dominant society. And then another thing he does, whenever he's talking about somebody from the dominant society, he will always say, that's my friend. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones. When it comes to Dana White, listen. When it comes to Dana White, listen to him right here. He says, I love him. Now, when we say they loves massa, when we say, what's the matter, boss? We six. Everybody thinks we fucking around. They think we being mean. They think there go FBA again. Y'all's is xenophobic. Ain't a motherfucking thing that we done never said they ain't fucking said. See, the problem is they can't stand we whooping their ass with receipts. Intellectually, we whooping their ass with spoilers. They don't like that fact. They wish that we was making this shit up. Family, they think that we over here just contriving this shit. Like we coming up with this shit in the back corner room. We ain't coming up with this shit. We heard what the fuck you said, and we exposing you with what the fuck you said. We ain't got to go outside the lines to G-check you. We ain't got to make nothing up to G-check you. We ain't got to create nothing. We take the words of Akon, we flip that shit right back at them, and then we run their ass off the block and get roasted. Trust me, the roasting would not hurt so much if it wasn't true. Since it's so true, that's what bothers them. Since it's so true, that's what scares them. Since it's so true, that's what got them deactivating all their motherfucking accounts and trying to get as far out of Dodge away from foundational black American freedmen as possible. Because when we come with facts. And we do it FBA style, and it's proven. That's some shit they can't handle. But listen to this man right here talk about how much he loves Massa. We ain't say it. That's what Mr. Fleedman Forehead said. Yes, we ain't say it. That came from Mr. Fleedman Forehead. Listen.
He's a friend.
Yeah.
I love him. 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 And I just wish the best for him and his family. And, he knows.
Goddamn. Now you see why he's sitting there talking about how much he loves Dana White, which excuses everything that he was doing. Miss BDJ jumps in and she starts talking about how much she loves him. And all she did was gave excuses all day long. See, she's only concerned with all them blacks men's when it comes to that pipe. Outside of that pipe, she doing what every other Karen does, trying to incriminate every black man she sees. Now, she'll date a Jalen Rose. She'll date a Stephen A. Smith because she getting that pipe tonight. But outside of that pipe, they trying to put brothers in handcuffs. And you see right there, she's shaking her head. Yup. Bad black man. Bad black man. I don't agree with him. He needs to go to jail. That's the evil brother. Y'all ever heard about the book called They Were Her Property Too? Go check that book out. It's called They Were Her Property Too. And it talks about the W woman's role in slavery. And how they've been getting all these passes for years, but yet they've been the main ones on the front line getting brothers hemmed up. And it's that type of energy right there. Because she may date Stephen A. Smith for the pipe. She may date Jalen Rose for the pipe, but she's just like the woman on the slave plantation that used to lust over the black men. But she'll lust over the black man all day long when it comes to that stick. But her love and her affection lies with Zaddy. Matter of fact, as much as you've ever seen her dating all these black men, have y'all ever heard her talk about the black men the same way she starts talking about Zaddy? She'll sit there with Jalen Rose and Stephen A. Smith and she'll be plugged up with all these black men, but we know what that's for. We know what that's for. The B, the D, and to the J. That's what she is. But when it comes to who she speaks about her love for and who she makes excuses for, who she goes to bat for, who she goes to the front line for, she ain't never openly, publicly stood up for black men. But when she starts talking about that W man, she talks like this.
I just want to say a couple of things. They talked about being drinking heavily.
Yeah.
When you're under the influence, not shining moments, often people don't make their best decisions. So in that sense, it's a cautionary tale.
Yep.
And in terms of it being an isolated incident, I've known Dana since I've 22. I have the utmost respect for him.
Yes.
And I don't judge people by their worst moment. I agree with you on that punishment part. And the other piece that I just want to say, as a woman, it was also his wife's hands on him. So no one should be putting their hands on anyone.
Okay.
Male, female, female, male.
Listen to that. That's really where her heart lies. Now, when she opened her mouth, and I'm not talking about for speaking, you know she lies with that black stick. But when she starts talking like this, that's really where Karen, the same Karen who's on that slave plantation, that's where her allegiance is. It's with Massa. It's with Zaddy. So when she speaks about Dana White, all of a sudden now, she's talking about he was drunk. That's what we was talking about, family. She's making excuses about a man being drunk and putting his hands on a woman. Was she ever making an excuse for a black man that was drunk and did that? Was she? Then she starts talking about how, as a woman, we shouldn't hit men. Family, how many times have y'all seen one of these Karens or one of these Beckys throw a drink at a brother, call a brother the N-word, or openly just hit the brother? And when he defends himself, he's seen as the criminal. But yet, when it comes to a W man, now all of a sudden they want to talk about a woman hitting a man. Now all of a sudden she want to say it goes both ways. They ain't never said it goes both ways with black men. As a matter of fact, how many times do you see these black basketball players on these courts? And these fans be throwing drinks at them, hitting them across the fucking head, saying all types of racial slurs. Have you heard anybody ever come out and say, well, they shouldn't say that to the athlete? No, they only get on how the athlete responds. Yeah, I know it was wrong, but we can't let words hurt us. They don't ever afford the black man the same excuses that they afford Zaddy, the same way they never afford our sisters the same excuses that they afford Karen. Serena Williams. When Serena Williams was out there getting called every name in the fucking book by some of the damn tennis players, they never came out and denounced it. You had folks coming out saying the most terrible shit about Serena Williams. Serena Williams was going over to Australia or Austria or wherever the fuck they play these tennis meets, and the whole goddamn audience would be saying shit about her. And all those little W's who play tennis with her, who are supposed to be her partners, they wouldn't say shit. They sit there and let motherfuckers call her monkey, throw her under the bus, and then you tune into this show every goddamn week, and they be sitting there saying racial slurs hurled at Serena Williams, and Miss Molly BDJ will be just sitting there saying, well, you know, we have to be strong, and, you know, words don't hurt us. We know what the fuck it is. Hey, but they wasn't done with the excuses. After that, she started talking about how it's a cautionary tale. Basically trying to say, oh, it's something that we could all learn from. You feel me? Now, when it comes to a black person, lock them up, throw away the key, no forgiveness. But then she starts talking about it's something we can learn from, it's a cautionary tale. And then she goes on to say, well, I've known him since I was 22. As if knowing a motherfucker means anything to them doing a crime. Now, I could know a motherfucker face to face for years. If they do a crime, me knowing them ain't gonna mean shit, because the dominant society is gonna throw them under the bus. But yet Stephen A. Smith says how much he loves the guy, Zaddy, and then BDJ says how much she loves the guy, Zaddy, and that's supposed to make it all better. So that is supposed to erase the man on camera slapping his woman. That's what it's supposed to erase. Now, once again, a black person could be in a situation way less, and we've seen black folks in situations way less than that, and they throw the book at them, no excuse. And Stephen A. Smith be the main one on TV with his Fleedman forehead, screaming and yelling, trying to get these black folks hemmed up, trying to get these black folks charged, trying to get these black folks thrown in jail, because that's really what he's doing. He's an agitator and an instigator working for the dominant society, and his main job is to keep all the black athletes in check. That's his job. His job is to consistently throw the black man under the bus and let the black athlete know who's really running shit. That's why when you look at the field on football, it is 80% black. When your ass looks at the head coaches on that sideline, 90% W. Fuck that, it's 97% W. When you look at the field of black athletes playing football, it's 80% black. You look up in them goddamn booths to the owners in the press box, and that shit is 100% W. Yes, the fuck it is. So anytime these black folks come out and they start talking about kneeling, or they start talking about contract negotiations, they send out Stephen A. Smith to throw them under the bus so they can remind everybody of who's really in charge, Zaddy. And look, family, he had to go back again and say it the second time how much he loves Zaddy. We already heard you say the shit earlier, bro. We heard you say that shit 30 seconds ago. Why the fuck did you have to come and repeat it? He will always consistently say that he loves Zaddy. As a matter of fact, I've seen him say that he loves W's more in 30 seconds than I've seen him ever say he loves black people in 20 years. He always talks about, I've been covering this for 20 years. In 20 years, you ain't never heard him say that he loves a black person. You seen him say that he loves Zaddy 3 times in 30 seconds. And that's why we always say that he ain't black. I remember talking about that a few weeks ago, and everybody knows exactly what we all agreed upon. Folks like this, they ain't black. He don't want to be black. He loves Zaddy. Well, cool. You can be over there and I don't want to be black. I love Zaddy crowd. Good luck with that one, though, because that never ends good. Don't that always end bad for him? We know what the dominant society does. First, they use their tools and then they break them. And that's the end game for people like him all the time. But if you want to take it a step further, how do we know this is a whole system at play? And all these people are minions for the dominant society. A guy came out who works for ESPN. His name is Jeff Wigginham or Wigginham or whatever the fucking him. He came out and said exactly what the new black media and the black grassroots have been saying about ESPN and all these little sports shows for the longest time. Once again, we expose them with their own words. So this guy comes out and he says verbatim, quote, "We've been told not to write anything incendiary on social media about the Dana White situation, and I understand why, and I have abided by that. I just ask y'all to understand that some of us at ESPN do not have as soft a take as this on domestic violence." End quote. That's what somebody, a writer at ESPN said. So that further proves what the black grassroots has been saying. He basically just came out and put it all on the fucking table. Once again, we expose them with their own shit. So if a writer at ESPN, a W, is coming out and openly saying that they got orders from the top not to say a goddamn word, but Stephen A. Sambo is getting on there and saying, I love him, one more time, I love him. Did I mention I love him? I love Zaddy more than I love myself. I wish I was Zaddy. I'm Zaddy's little pet. When he gets on television and he basically makes excuses for him, and the W is coming out and saying, I don't feel that same way. We just been getting our orders. What does that tell you about Stephen A. Sambo? It's the same exact thing that you hear about Charles Barkley, the same exact thing about Shaquille O'Neal, the same exact thing about Jason Fatlock. It's the same thing across the board. This is a $1 million plantation, and these are all prepaid bucks who come on there to spew the same bullshit. And they believe it too. Mind you, a coon for free, y'all. We've been saying that for a long time. I know everybody says they get paid for cooning. Getting paid is just like icing on the cake. All right, that's the cherry on top. Because these motherfuckers are coon for free, because to them, being acknowledged by massa is the money. Being told that they's a good little boys or girls is the money. Coons do not need money. They don't need any monetary gain. They don't need a dollar, a quarter, a nickel, none of that shit. If massa winks at their ass, that'll make their whole day. Their whole fucking day. I always say, and this is one of my mottos right here on the Black Alpha Network, a coon for free and a coon forever. No money involved. You ain't got to pay him shit. Stephen A. Smith, he will be there first thing in the morning getting yelled at. Y'all remember that video when that W was yelling at him on the show saying, "Don't you ever be late again?" He sat there and was smiling. He was smiling. No self-respecting black man or woman on the earth would sit down and get yelled at with a finger in their face by the dominant society. This motherfucker not only did it, he did this shit and smiled. This motherfucker didn't only get on TV and say he loves Dana White. He said the shit 3, 4, 5 times. On top of saying how much he loved Jerry Jones. As I said, you look for a clip of him saying he loves anything black. This motherfucker don't say he like a black shirt. But you tell me about him loving a W, man, you have footage for days. You'll be rolling that shit out. Because you see where Stephen A. Sambo exists. He exists in a sunken place. Right next to that BDJ standing next to him. And I already told y'all what BDJ stands for. You feel me? So those type of people are in a sunken place, and those type of people get roasted on that FBA certified G-check list, and we putting them names, dates, and addresses in that Jumbotron, and we letting the whole goddamn world know what type of trash they are. You see, when it comes to the dominant society, he got them little kitty gloves. That's what it is. They always try to reduce the criminal to the victim in the dominant society. They always try to reduce the adult to the child in the dominant society. And that's exactly what they're playing. I mean, they was just, I know, but could be, and he was drunk. And when have you ever seen somebody get the he was drunk excuse? When have you ever seen one of these feminists come out and go against another woman? And that's another thing. Has anybody heard the Me Too movement come out? Has the Me Too movement said a motherfucking thing? Me Too movement ain't said shit. Let it be a black dude and they all over. As a matter of fact, when the football player Ray Rice and his wife got into an altercation and he hit his wife, that man lost his whole career. And it was really the same exact situation as the Dana White. There was no excuses, no nothing. Ray Rice lost his whole motherfucking career. His wife even came out and was like, yo, I stand by my husband. Don't take his career away. Dana White, on the other hand, his wife was sitting there crying on fucking camera. And they saying, well, it is what it is. Don't hit people. Me Too movement ain't said shit. Disappeared. Because we understand the Me Too movement only shows up to come after black folks. The Me Too movement is anti-black. And then she said, I'm not with cancel culture. I literally seen her sit there and talk about canceling black folks. Yes, she has. So what we come to find out is that the Me Too movement is anti-black and cancel culture is anti-black. How do you know? It's because anytime something happens to the dominant society, the Me Too movement disappears and cancel culture disappears. A motherfucking W will sit here and do all types of shit on camera, and the Me Too movement would disappear right in front of your eyes and then reappear magically when something happens to a brother. Same with cancel culture. A W do something live on camera, wave at the camera, wink at the fucking camera, commit a crime right in front of the fucking camera. And cancel culture will disappear in the middle of the night. Let something happen to a brother, these motherfuckers will show up quick. And the things that happen to the brother are 9 times out of 10 the smallest shit in the world. And they'll try to inflate it to a big thing. We know what time it is with these folks. We see it all the time. As a matter of fact, let's give a couple examples. They are more mad at Kyrie Irving for sharing a link than they were mad at Dana White for hitting his wife on camera. They had more smoke for Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock, a grown-ass man, than they did for Dana White, a UFC guy, slapping his wife on camera. No smoke at all. You see the difference again, y'all? Y'all see the difference? I mean, it smells like a double standard to me. You feel me? Dude slapped his wife and he don't even get ridiculed. Got another one for you. Chris Brown. Didn't just a month ago, Chris Brown went to go get an award for his art, for his music, and then the whole fucking crowd booed him? Remember, Kelly Rowland had to G-check the crowd. You see, the dominant society wasn't letting that shit go. Wasn't no motherfucking excuses. I didn't hear one person come out and talk about Chris Brown was drunk. I didn't hear one person come out and say, well, Rihanna hit him first. We don't need to hit each other. Nobody was trying to spread the blame around amongst Chris Brown and Rihanna. Nobody was talking about that Chris Brown was a young man. Dana White is like fucking 50-something years old. Hit his wife on camera. This guy is trained in mixed martial arts. Chris Brown was like, what, fucking 19? Apologized, made up with the victim that he did it to. He apologized publicly and privately, and that shit was fucking 20 years ago. And they still booing him today. They ain't let none of that shit go. And you didn't see one motherfucker coming to his aid. Not one motherfucker was making any excuses for him. You see what I'm talking about? The dominant society will hold on to any type of little fucking grudge they can with black folks all the way until the last hour. Look at Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, same situation. They'll hold on to some shit from Bill Cosby from fucking 1960. They'll go back in the fucking time machine to lock Bill Cosby up. A 50-year-old W man who is mixed martial artist, which means combat, can slap his wife on camera and it's excuses for days. Yep, matter of fact, before they even got to the excuses, they didn't even talk about it. See, the excuses come second. They only made the excuses after we exposed the story, after we forced them to acknowledge the story, because they were going to go beyond that. The excuses don't come until they acknowledge the shit. They prefer not to acknowledge it. They was not going to say shit. They was going to talk over it, around the fucking corner and back again. They were never going to touch this story. And then when they finally touched the story, then came the excuses. All types of excuses. And like I said, you can go down the list and name any black athlete. As a matter of fact, shit, I forgot about this one. Deshaun Watson. Yup, the guy that was accused by all those Karens down in Houston, Texas, the football player, that BDJ Molly went in on him every fucking day. And she was also doing the fake tears, right? The I'm so hurt, I'm such a victim. This was the same exact person who sat there and was making excuse after excuse after excuse for Dana White, hitting a woman. Deshaun Watson just had accusations, and she went in on him like he was guilty as charged. Same thing. And I'm not talking about years ago. I'm talking about recently. It could be on Monday dealing with a black man. She's on TV damn near crying, talking about how guilty he is. It can be on Tuesday about Zaddy, a W man, and she'll be on there making excuses and damn near crying how innocent he is. Same game, same game. And like I said, Stephen A. Smith, man, he done got into it. Everybody. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, he lost sleep over Ray Rice. When Marshawn Lynch, the football player, wasn't talking at the Super Bowl, Stephen A. Smith went on a whole goddamn outrage campaign against him. Cam Newton, he had issues with him. He always tries to talk about black men going to jail. Don't say shit about the W's. I've seen W's on that show sit there and diss him to his face. And he'll act like they didn't even say it. He'll be like, yeah. A black man says some shit and then he tries to get tough. Matter of fact, y'all know how I feel about Dr. Kubar Vasquez. He got mad at Dr. Kubar because I guess Dr. Kubar said that Stephen A. Smith deserves like 60, 20, 30 fucking lashes or some shit. Something that Dr. Kubar said. Now, these are two people who are non-FBA, but I guess Dr. Kubar said some shit about Stephen A. Smith and Stephen A. Smith got mad. He got mad, but only difference was he didn't try to do that. He get buck type shit like he be doing from time to time. He tried to do the I'm a brother man. How can you say that about another brother? Now, didn't I say, as a matter of fact, fuck that. Before we go there, listen.
All I have to say to Dr. Umar Johnson is this. I don't know any human being alive I would wish 50,000 lashes on. Respectfully, how low can you go? Never met you, don't know you. Educated brother. I wish you nothing but the best. But you would wish that upon another human being, a brother? Really? That's how low you would go?
Family. Ain't that exactly what I said? Every time a coon is in distress, they use the black card. The only thing that they ever care about is selling out other black people. But once you call them out on that, then all of a sudden they act like they value their blackness. The only time they care about being black is when they can use that as an excuse for you going after them. That's it. They don't give a damn. Somebody that'll walk around all day long, denounce black people, walk around all day long, throw black folks under the bus, walk around all day long hating their own black skin. But the moment you tell them something that they don't like, then it turns into, I'm your brother. And we got to get over this. We all brothers. No, the fuck we not. My brothers and sisters are on code. That's what it is with me. If you ain't on code, we ain't brothers. And you got to stop allowing coons to do that. Because the coons sit there all day long and say, we black people need to get it together. It's our fault. W's ain't all bad. Where the W women at? They'll say that shit all day long. As soon as you say, man, you a coon, then they'll say, how could you say that about another brother? How can you say that? Didn't I say blackness is used as a fake ID? We got to be very cautious about these people who come in camouflage, these decoys. They only care about being black or claiming black once you call their ass out. When you call their ass out, they want to get black as hell. They want to go from W sympathizer to Wesley Snipes. They want to go from W sympathizer to Shabba Ranks. These motherfuckers don't give a damn about being black. Only time they care about being black is when you call them out. Stephen A. Smith does not look at any of us as no brother. But I guarantee you call him a coon, he's gonna say, we're brothers. How can you say that? Fuck no. We ain't brothers. Not at all. You are an anti-black person, and I am a pro-black person. Two differences. I'm certified, you counterfeit. And we gotta always make that distinction between the certifieds and counterfeits, and we can't give no counterfeits no pass. Y'all know how we do it right here on the Black Alpha Network, certified BLACK. We was the first ones to come along and say, listen, I don't give a damn what your skin color is. You ain't my brother, we ain't the same, ain't nothing alike. And I don't hold no bones about it, I'm completely proud with saying that shit. It's all about your mentality, it's all about your soul. Everybody can share black skin. You could be blacker than fucking midnight, but then you can hate other black people. And we got to draw that distinction in between the two of those and allow those motherfuckers who are counterfeit to go live on the counterfeit side. You can't come on the certified side. We too strong for you. We too real over here. Your ass probably fucking around won't last about 2 seconds over here because the real one's gonna get you. So we got to understand people like Stephen A. Smith or all those other people who only want to use their blackness so they can use it against us as a weapon. And that's what they do. They weaponize their blackness. Candace Owens, she'll say, I'm black when she can harm other black people by saying that. Stephen A. Smith will say, I'm black so he can harm other black people by saying that. Jason Whitlock will say he's black so he can harm other black people by saying that. 9 times out of 10, that first conversation, when someone says, as a black person, they about to say some weaponized shit against black people. 9 times out of 10, when someone says, I'm your brother, how could you say that? They're about to say some weaponized shit against black people. We see through that. So me seeing that type of game and understanding that little slick slide and camouflage shit they do, we stepped to the plate. We said, fuck that. If you ain't black, you ain't certified, get your ass out of Dodge. And you better get out of Dodge quickly, especially if you got a fleeting forehead. Point motherfucking blank. Bottom line. So you got to be careful of any of these folks who come around and they try to weaponize their own blackness against black people. We don't go for that shit. If you ain't got that certified soul and you ain't one of the B1 riders, then you can move out the motherfucking paint or we will put you out the paint. So yeah, family, they put on their tap dancing shoes. They out here doing a little jig for massa, but none of that shit is moving anything because we calling it out before it happens. Didn't I say before a coon takes that first coon breath in the morning, we done already roasted them, we done already G-checked them, and we done definitely already regulated. It's that simple and it don't stop. And having that ability to foresee and having that ability to forecast and see things before it happens, that's the best quality we got. Y'all remember back in the day, it might take a motherfucker 20 years to figure out some shit. If it take you 20 years to find out a lie that took them 2 seconds, then that means your ass is 20 years behind. We ain't got no time to be behind. We moving forward, and that's what we're doing today. We're moving so fast that we see things. And we're not just moving fast to be fast. We're moving fast and we getting things done. And you can only do that when you got talent, and we got all the talent in the world right now. That's why this era is being redefined by every single step and every single action that we create. So since we're seeing things that they're trying to use on us before they use it, that's not just with the Stephen A. Sambos and his fleeting forehead. Nah. That ain't just about Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Candace Owens, and all your average everyday neighborhood coons. Nah. We've been seeing what they've been doing in the political world as well. So family, when they try to give us Obama 2.0, we reject that shit the same way we reject Obama 1.0. Y'all know who we talking about. Receipts.
Staying in Washington, where a younger generation of leaders is set to step into the spotlight on Capitol Hill. House Democrats officially elected New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries to be the House Minority Leader in the new Congress. He will be the first black lawmaker to lead a congressional caucus. During a news conference yesterday, Jeffries discussed working for the people.
As we work to advance the ball for everyday Americans and get stuff done. Because that's what Democrats do.
Yeah. Don't we always say that they are desperate right now? Y'all know I'm always saying they done reached into that trick bag so much they ain't nothing in it no more. They scraping up their fucking hands, cutting their fingers and everything because every single lie that they have put in front of us, we done rejected that shit. Every con game, every hustle, every little deceptive tactic that they have tried to use on foundational black American freedmen, we done sent that shit packing. Yes, we have. So what have they done, family? They do what we always say right here on the Black Alpha Network. They're doing recycled racism. Recycled racism is when they done ran out of every fucking game. They ain't got nothing left. They desperate. They don't know where to go. They don't know what their next move is. And then they try to say, well, let's go give them the old thing that we did in 1960. And we send that shit packing. Then they say, I'll tell you what, let's go do what we did in 1990. Maybe that old tactic will work. And then we send that shit back. So now they're to the point where they are so desperate that they're trying to relive the yes we can era. They done went and found them Obama 2.0, a tall, balding, light-skinned, we all the world, all lives matter ass candidate who comes and tries to play into hip-hop culture, tries to talk all that hibbity-bee-bop shit so he can try to secure the black vote. Family, they are positioning this guy, Hakeem Jeffries, just like Barrack Obama's. They got to go find a guy with the most black-sounding name. You'll never hear somebody with a regular name. You'll never see Marcus or Kevin or Jerome. Nah, they got to give you Barrack or Hakeem or Kentanje. All three of them, matter of fact, Kamala, all four of them have names that are non-FBA, and you know why? It's because all of them are non-FBA. Yes. And they went and found this guy. They sat back, they watched, and they said, we're going to sell black folks Obama 2.0 because we can't come up with anything new. The first black, that shit ain't work. The second black, that shit ain't work. The historic speech and all that shit has not worked. Ain't nobody in black society even talking about dude. Ain't nobody. If you turn on your television, you go to NBC, ABC, CNN, they're talking about how great this is. They're talking about how wonderful it is. It's groundbreaking. It's an achievement. That regular black person out here don't know who the fuck this dude is. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. You can put this motherfucker's face right in front of you and you say, who the hell is that? Don't nobody know who this guy is because we've been rejecting the first black. That first black shit don't work. So they're going to make this guy the Speaker of the House. They're going to prepare him to run in 2024 or in 2028, and they're going to groom him the same way they did Obama. And if you look, they're doing the same play. As I said, they're going back to the old trick bag because the new trick bag don't motherfucking work. So they're going to try to run the same games on us that they ran on motherfuckers during the Obama Yes We Can era. Only difference is they're going to find out these ain't the same black people from the Obama Yes We Can era. Yes We Can done turned into hell to the no. And they fucking with the hell to the gnaw era. And it's a completely different era. The hell to the gnaw era, we don't fall for tricks. We don't fall for gestures or symbolism. You better come with some motherfucking tangibles. And if you don't believe me, look at the words. Look at the wordplay, look at the terminologies, look at the statements that come from us opposed to people back in the day. Back in the day, man, you could do any motherfucking thing. Black folks is out here marching, praying, begging, forgiving, blindly voting. All of that shit ain't popping no more. It ain't hot in these streets because we done changed the motherfucking game. We done made everybody clear that you gonna come to the table with something real or we gonna send your ass out the motherfucking door. That's the difference between us and now. I'm telling you, they was looking for black folks and the wrong one showed up. They was waiting on all the nice ones. They was waiting on all the friendly diddly windleys, all the happy sappy dappies, and them motherfuckers ain't nowhere to be found. They done instead found some real certifieds, some real B1s, some real American freedmen. And that's not what they like. So how you know that this ain't gonna work is because back then they were dealing with the African American. Now they're dealing with the foundational black American. Back then they were operating off the all lives matter. Now they're dealing with certified black society. Back then they were dealing with the we all the world. Now they're dealing with the FBA versus the world. And you cannot come up with something more different. You cannot see something more in contrast, and you cannot see something that is more of the antithesis of being certified. And that is us, and we represent it. So the black grassroots era is in full swing, full effect, full play, and they don't know how to handle it. So they're going back in time and they're trying to pull the Obama shit on us. I'm telling you right motherfucking now, they gonna have a hard dealing with that shit. They gonna have a hard dealing. That's going to fall flat. I'm always speaking on how they're not getting their premiums. They're out here spending all types of money, all types of time, energy, and effort so they can fool us. But everything they're doing and everything they're trying to apply is falling flat on its face because we ain't going for it. Imagine being the dominant society and you had your way for hundreds of years. Every fucking lie you came up with, folks said, yes, sirs. Every con game you try to contrive, black folks say, eyes understands the boss. But now, when you come to the same exact lineage and you trying to sell them your bullshit, you getting told to your face, fuck around and find out because we laying the smack down. What's the difference between them and us is that we don't take no bullshit. What's the difference between them and us is we don't play no games. What's the difference between them and us is that they would fall, they would fold, they would say yes sir, yes massa, yes boss, and we say fuck all of y'all. Certified for life, bottom line. No compromise. Run that check, run them tangibles, run our reparations. And that's where our narrative stays. And do you notice that, family? Our narrative never deviates from policy. Our narrative never deviates from reparations, from tangibles, for things that are actually going to uplift our community. We're not getting knocked off our pivot. We standing on our square, 10 toes down, loyal to the soil, getting it out the mud. The older generations, they stayed on emotion. That's why you can send a mini motherfucker who is black, talk about how great of a victory it is for black folks, and then that motherfucker can sit there and do something for everybody else and taunt black folks. What happened to all the Joe Biden supporters? They was out here talking about Uncle Joe, Master Joe, Jim Crow Joe. And then 2 weeks later, them motherfuckers was nowhere to be found. The same people that want to sit down and have a whole conversation with you about politics, we got to get rid of Trump, anybody but Trump, vote blue no matter who. 3 weeks later, they disappeared. Them conversations went to the back and the back and the back until eventually they just went away. They don't want to have them conversations no more because they understand that we roasting them. And if you was talking all that vote blue no matter who shit, and then we present the facts of Joe Biden not doing shit for us but doing something for everybody else, then all of a sudden they stick their head in the sand and they want to walk away. They don't want to have them dinner table discussions no more. It's the same thing with the Barrack H0-Bama apologists. They asses done disappeared too. They done stuck their head in the sand too. They used to want to have all these conversations about Obama and how great he was, and that shit slowly went away. Why? It's because we're here to present the facts and we be whooping their asses intellectually. We ain't got to come up with nothing. We ain't got to make nothing. All we got to do is point to what happened and what didn't happen. All we got to do is point to the facts versus the fiction. All we got to do is point to the reality versus the fantasy. And our point is already fucking proven. So since we're proving points and cashing receipts and giving out them spoilers, let me give a spoiler alert. This guy is Barrack H0-Bama 2.0. Matter of fact, he's 2.0. Barrack H0-Bama 2.0. And that shit ain't gonna work on certified American freedmen. You dealing with a different era. See, when you're on code, things change. We're not gonna sit here and talk about how we on code and how we've been changing the game and the way things operate today are nothing like the past and think that this shit gonna slide in and this shit gonna work all of a sudden. No, the fuck it ain't. The same way black folks ain't even talking about this clown in real life is the same way it's gonna be. They can go out and get every D.L. Hughley of the world, every broken Buck Kari Sellers of the world. They can go get Vanessa Jones and they can sit there and talk that bullshit, but it ain't gonna get no gravity. It ain't gonna move nowhere. It ain't gonna get no legs. That shit gonna stay right there and not move a motherfucking inch because we are in control, because we dominate. We are the influencers. We are the ones out here making real, genuine change. See, back in the old days, they used to try to tell us what our victories were. They'd be like, oh, look, a black guy is the first janitor at this building. That's a historic victory for black folks. Oh, look, a black man is the 13th customer at the local grocery store. What a historic win for black people. Man, did you know that a black man was the employee of the month at Walmart? Woo, black folks done came so far now. Fuck that. If it ain't reparations, it ain't tangibles, it ain't a victory. Bottom motherfucking line. All of our victories gonna have to come with some dollar signs. That's what it is. Every last victory that comes from foundational black Americans gonna have to have some dollar bills on it. That's what the fuck we doing, and that's what the fuck we representing. You better cash some fucking checks before you ever mention the word victory. We are owed a debt, so you better pay that check. Cut it, run it, hand it, I don't give a fuck how you do it. But don't ever mention victory, don't ever mention some type of progress unless that shit got dollar bill on it. And I ain't talking about 2 or 3. I'm talking about big stacks, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, and trillions. If it ain't any of that, you can keep the motherfucker who's the employee of the month. You can keep the first motherfucking customer at the store. You can keep the first black janitor, the first black coach, the first black little league ball player. I don't give 2 fucks. It better be the first black reparations check, and I'm talking about in full to foundational black American freedmen. Other than that, sit your pony ass down. And this guy right here, Barrack H0-Bama 2.0, he can sit his ass down because when we looked into his background, and we know some people that know some people and some words on the street, we understand that there's this play now where they're always trying to erase somebody's background. See, back in the old days, family, first off, hold up. Smash that like button, subscribe to the Black Alpha Network. Certified Black Society is in here. All of us salute to the chat. I love y'all with a passion. Let's go to work and let's really break this shit down the thorough way. Okay, so we've been doing some research and we've been finding out what's really popping off in the streets. And we see that every time they try to feed us a first black, that person is always non-FBA, because first black just means non-foundational black American. Can we go ahead and just translate that? Can we go ahead and put that in stone? First black means non-FBA. And that's why they never want to put lineage on it. They never want to put heritage or ethnicity on it. No, they want to keep that shit as flat black as possible, because flat blackness, that means a victory for everybody, but not for us. Flat blackness is a victory for migrants, refugees, immigrants, people from different villages, different huts, people who are from other sides of the earth, hopped over the ocean. That's a first blackness wins. But a real victory for us is for foundational black American and its lineage base. But here's the kicker. Y'all notice that they never started saying first black until we started saying lineage based. When we start saying lineage based, then all of a sudden it's first black, first black, first black. We start saying lineage based, they start saying, well, here's Kamala Harris, first black. We start saying lineage based, then they say Ketanji Brown Jackson, first black. We start saying lineage based, then they start saying Barrack H0-Bama 2.0, Hakeem Jeffries, first black. Why do they keep trying to spin the first black? Because that's them trying to weave and tether everybody else into us. When it came to Barack Obama, they used to say the first black president. I'm gonna tell you why they were open with it back then. See, back then, black folks wasn't on code. They were still running around saying, we're not really American now, we from Africa. Remember with Obama? They was telling you where his mama was from, Kansas, his daddy's from fucking Kenya, because ethnicity and lineage wasn't the thing. Soon as we start saying ethnicity and lineage first, then these motherfuckers say, well, first black. First black this, first black that, first black everywhere. And it ain't just politics, y'all. Every motherfucking year they telling you some first black done did some bullshit. I literally seen a motherfucker say the first black referee in a soccer game. Who gives a fuck about that? I don't even fucking watch soccer. If you watch soccer, cool. But I could give a goddamn about the first black soccer coach, soccer player, soccer referee, soccer owner. I don't give a fuck about the first black soccer ball. You can keep all that shit. Where's my money? And if you ain't talking about reparations and you ain't talking about money, then you ain't talking about us. So once we started saying lineage-based everything, lineage-based organizations, political parties, candidates, culture, heritage, tangibles, reparations, everything has to have that FBA stamp on it or that certified foundational Black American Freedman flag. If it ain't got that next to it, I don't know it. So now, family, what you're starting to see is finding these people's backgrounds is becoming harder and harder. They're not broadcasting no more like they did with Obama. They damn near told you the village that Barack Obama's daddy was from. They say this motherfucker from Kenya on the east-west end in a hut 3 dirt roads down the alley across the valley from a water well. They was giving you coordinates to where Barack Obama was from. As a matter of fact, they were very proud. They was very proud. Barack Obama's mother's from Kansas. She's a W. Karen, a BDJ. She was the old BDJ, y'all. She was that old 1960s BDJ. She used to be chasing every black man in the world. Why the fuck you think a W woman from Kansas ended up with a black dude from Kenya? Trust me, it ain't because they got along so good. She was that same W woman you see at Walmart hanging around all the black men. She was the Kim Kardashians who goes from Ray J to Reggie Bush to Kanye, but she settles down with a W. Why you think Barack Obama said my grandparents didn't like my daddy? No shit. Your mama didn't like your daddy, unless her mouth was open. But that's another subject for another day. They used to tell you about his mother, they'd tell you about his father, and they was open about him being a tether. That's all Barack Obama is. He is a product of a BDJ and a tether. So you see why he did something for everybody else. And that's what you're seeing with this guy right here. And the same thing you seen with Ketanji Brown Jackson and the same thing you seen with Kamala Harris. Black folks had to go dig and find out the history of Ketanji Brown Jackson. Black folks had to dig and do real extensive research to find out about Kamala Harris and how they was putting W on her birth certificate and how her parents did not identify as black. Yep, they'd be like, her daddy is a Jamaican and her mama's whatever the hell. But y'all notice when they found that birth certificate, that shit didn't say black or American on it at all because she's not. So we had to do this searching for the real identity of these people because now they're hiding it. This ain't the Yes We Can era. In the Yes We Can era, black folks was we all the world. Hell, half black folks thought that they was W's. So they was okay with Obama being non-lineage and non-heritage. This era, fuck no. Where your people from? Y'all know the famous quote. Where your people from? Where your family from? Oh, you non-FBA. This is the era when we calling out non-FBA. We calling out fleedmen and fleers and tethers. We letting everybody know either you're a part of the lineage or you're not. And if you're not, we gonna side eye you and we watch it. So they went back to the drawing board and said, let's hide the true identity of all these first blacks. Let's not tell people where their family's really from. Let's not tell them where their culture is really from. Let's not tell you where these folks is really traced back to, because it ain't America. Hell no, it ain't America. We are foundational Black Americans. We are certified foundational Black American freedmen. These, man, it's a bunch of fleedmen, fleers, tethers, jumpers, hoppers, skippers, everything except being indigenous to the lineage. So when we start talking about immigration, we start talking about fleers and tethers, we typically think about the motherfuckers who call in the Twitter spaces, people who come here, jump in the border, hop in the border. Half of these folks are first, second, or third generations, and then they work their way up to politics. That's why the Democratic Party not only serves tethers on a regular basis, they also do it when it comes to the candidates that they recruit. The same way how we sit back and we watch the news, and you see these motherfuckers hopping over fences coming here, flying, putting their goddamn hand over their heart, and saying, I come to America for peace. I come to America to work harder. That isn't just your average everyday motherfucker working at a grocery store, the average motherfucker in the neighborhood who got a convenience store, the little pit stop down the street, the little corner store that sells all that bullshit to black folks. Hell nah. that is also your first black candidate, your first black Democrats, your first black Republican, because they understand we don't go for that bullshit. If you come in here and you start talking about being FBA and you start talking about being of the lineage and the heritage, then we can call you out on some of your off-coded shit. That's what we did with Obama. Obama came in here all day long and he cosplayed in the FBA. Ketanji Brown Jackson cosplays in FBA. Kamala Harris, hell yeah. Why you think we was calling out Kamala Harris with her fake ass dance moves? Her saying that she used to listen to Tupac, her trying to rap, all that bullshit that she was talking, we knew that wasn't FBA. We could see a non-FBA from a mile away. We know when somebody is not of the lineage. So it gets very, very easy for us to call these motherfuckers out. And that's the same thing we're doing with Barrack H0-Bama. And then we went and we did some looking and we come to find out that this guy is non-FBA all day. And I seen a lot of brothers and sisters was like, is this dude FBA or not? Because like I said, they're going back now. They're going back to the internet and they're swiping a lot of these people's backgrounds. You can't find those pages back in the day. Back in the old days, you could find out exactly where a motherfucker was from. And they going back and they saying, we're going to keep that shit all under wraps. We going to hide it. We going to camouflage it. We going to keep that shit underneath the ground, so nobody can find out where these people are from. Ketanji Brown Jackson, it was the black grassroots who exposed that she was non-FBA. And she goes back to a Caribbean background. Same with Kamala Harris. It was the black grassroots who identified and framed that she was non-FBA. And she identifies as a Pacific Islander. It was all of us that had to do it. And brothers and sisters had to put in work. Because I'm telling y'all, they go back and they try to hide this shit. They don't never bring up these folks' lineage no more. This ain't the Obama era. In Obama era, they would tell you these motherfuckers was everything except American because flat blackness was in and it was okay. Now I'm telling y'all, they got little motherfucking computer nerds going back and saying, oh, wipe that off the internet. Oh, swipe that off the internet. Oh, that shows that he's really got a grandma from Senegal. Swipe that. Oh, he's really got an uncle from Haiti. Swipe that. Oh, he's got Jamaican lineage. Swipe that. Get that clean off the net. But just like everything when it comes to Freeman, you can put every motherfucking hurdle in front of us and we're going to jump right over that shit and we are going to expose what you really are. And right here on the Black Alpha Network, certified BLACK, this is going to be one of the first times you hear somebody speak about this Barrack H0-Bama 2.0 on a national level being non-FBA. And we're going to put it out there right now. It has been discovered after finding out and going past all of them trying to swipe it off the internet, not really talking about his lineage, how they trying to hide it, they kind of whispering about it. And that's what they do, y'all. They be like, well, let's not really talk about it. Let's be very vague and murky. Because, vague and murky doesn't get to the motherfucking facts, but Certified Black Society gets straight to all the goddamn facts. This guy, Barrack H0-Bama 2.0, it has been discovered that not only is he non-FBA, he is from the descent of Cape Verde. Cape Verde is an island in Africa and its neighbors are Manitoba, Ghana, and Senegal. Exactly where Don Quarius Akon is from. Yes. Matter of fact, we got an article we found and it talks about how Hakeem is the great-grandson of Cape Verde's Manuel Gomez, an immigrant from Fago Island, and he will be the first black to hold that position in the U.S. Congress in more than 200 years of history. Family. So he is actually being celebrated by all of the tethers out there. Y'all remember when Barrack H0-Bama won the election and you started seeing all these colored folk from all over the world celebrating? See, black folks was over here dancing in the street, happy that there was a black face in office, right? A black president. But at the same time, they was dancing in Asia, they was dancing in India, they was dancing in Africa. Why were they doing that? Because they knew what black folks didn't want to know back then. And that is, he was not of the lineage of foundational black American. And he was going to come in and serve his tether population. As soon as Barrack H0-Bama was elected, he served his tether population. And that's exactly what this guy is going to do. The same way they inserted Ketanji Brown Jackson so she can serve the tether population. And then they inserted Kamala Harris so she can serve the tether population. And that's exactly what she's done, by the way. As soon as she was elected with Joe Biden or Jimmy Crow, the first thing they did was start writing laws for the whole tether population. And matter of fact, every time they had any type of summit, committee, or meeting, she was the main one sitting at the table while they were signing laws for all the tether population. See, they like to put a tether liaison on the front stage so they can play the communicator between the dominant society and the tether population. They understand when they're dealing with foundational black Americans, we put some of us on these panels, we gonna get some goddamn money. We gonna get some tangibles. We ain't gonna sit there and say, okay, go ahead and write them laws for everybody else. We gonna say, man, fuck that. Fuck them. Where's our money at? Where's our reparations at? So they make sure that they get the foundational black American presence removed, and then they put in that first black tether. So that first black tether can play that liaison and speak whatever language and play the communicator and be that bridge between the dominant society and the tether population. You ever see whenever the supremacists would go and colonize somebody else's land, they'd always be there with an escort from that population. And what would they be doing? They'd be shaking hands. They go to Africa, and every time you see a colonizer over there, they'd have 3 or 4 African presidents with them shaking hands, because that person is playing that liaison between the dominant society and the people that they're colonizing. And that's exactly what you see, and that's why they always want to have this Cape Verde Hakeem Jeffries or Barrack H0-Bama or Kamala Harris. They always want to put them right there so they can play that liaison the same way them African presidents played that liaison when their countries were being colonized. That's why they always have to put one of them on that pedestal so they can play that little flunky that stands next to Zaddy. And that's exactly what they do. That's why Barrack H0-Bama was the damn president of the United States of America, but he used to walk behind Joe Biden because he understands his role. He was a black face in a high place, and we've seen that the black face in the high place doesn't do anything. And FBA, we don't go for that. But all these other fleedmen and fleers, they're still happy because they see that as some type of victory. And speaking of victory, we don't stop there. No, we got receipts for days. Certified Black Society, subscribe to the channel. Black Alpha Network, we're going to let it be known real loud and clear. Anything that you try to put off on our lineage, we're going to see your ass. We're going to check your ass. We're going to regulate your ass. Nothing is going to go unnoticed. Nothing is going to go unseen. And we're going to flip over every motherfucking stone so all the facts is on the table. If we out here and we in Vegas and we playing that money game, we putting everything on the motherfucking table. Double up, triple up, bring the money back. And that's what we're doing. So the receipts don't stop there. Not only has it been exposed that this guy is from Cape Verde descent, which is non-FBA, and salute to all my brothers and sisters out there that were automatically identifying this guy as non-FBA, because like I said, it's been real hush-hush. This story ain't really made the news yet. It's kind of quiet. You see them trying to pump it up in the mainstream, but we ain't going for it. But a lot of my brothers and sisters was like, yo, this dude non-FBA. This dude non-FBA. We see this shit loud and clear. And they was on his bumper from the giddy up. We wasn't even gonna let that non-FBA shit seep in. This is what I'm saying. We gotta get it before it happens. Before Coon even takes that first coon step in the morning, you gotta check them. Before they take that first coon breath, you gotta check them. And this is what we doing right now. We're gonna go ahead and identify this guy as non-FBA today, so tomorrow he don't try to slide in this shit of all lives matter and try to press it on our people. This is what it is. This is how it goes. This is how you regulate. So we regulate from the jump. And not only have we discovered that this guy is non-FBA, and he's the great grandson of a non-FBA, which would automatically classify him as a tether. And by the way, my great grandfather is from Kentucky. Where's your great grandfather from? I know it ain't from goddamn Cape Verde. I know it ain't from goddamn Fargo Island. Okay, my people is from right here in the United States of America. So now you're starting to see these second and third generation tethers coming, and we're gonna call out the first, the second, the third, the 15th, the 44 and a half, and the 23rd and the 9th. Okay, all y'all asses getting G-checked. That's what we do it, because we got this for days, no days off, all gas, no breaks. But not only did we see them starting to celebrate, not only have we seen them trying to be hush-hush and real quiet. Like I said, we had to go get this information. Brothers and sisters out here in the streets had to get it. Every single first black that they've tried to present to us, it's been the black grassroots who have canceled that shit. We are the ones creating all of the narratives. Same way with the whole Dana White situation. Same thing with Stephen A. Sambo and his Fleedman forehead, how they was trying to keep Dana White quiet. That's the same way the Democrats are trying to keep these people's lineage quiet. They want to have these folks very, very lineage hush. They want to have them very, very ethnicity hush. They want to have them very, very heritage hush. They do not want to mention any of these people's backgrounds. They don't want to tell you where their parents are from. They don't want to tell you where their grandparents are from. They want to make you think these folks are FBA so they can play you. We ain't going for that. We are going to expose where your family's from, where your heritage is, where your family tree, your bloodline. We're going to trace that shit back, quite frankly, to see if you one of us. Because you're not going to come around here and act like you one of us, try to claim that you one of us, because we seen how that works. All that is somebody getting a pass, somebody getting some access granted to them that they don't deserve. You're not going to tether onto us. See, the same way folks tether onto us out here and get our policies and our tangibles, that's the same way these black politicians tether onto us. Barack Obama used foundational black Americans for clout. And as soon as he got that, he jumped on and started serving his tether population. Same thing with Kamala Harris. They don't go to all these other tether places and start doing the fucking nay-nay and start leaning and rocking. They don't do that. Anytime they go to the tether population, they are very serious, they are very businesslike, they are very savvy. And they talking about policies and tangibles. They not in there dancing. They not in there throwing chicken wings in the fucking sky. She ain't talking about no collard greens when she go in front of her people. She makes sure that her people got hate crime laws. She made sure that her people got tangible benefits. When it comes to us, she's in this motherfucker talking about the food of the week. What's for dinner tonight? She literally just came out with her husband, Zaddy, and was in here talking about Kwanzaa. And oh my God, did y'all hear that shit? Cringe.
Hello everyone and happy Kwanzaa. Doug and I sent
Who
our
the fuck is Doug?
to all of
We don't know yo Zaddy.
season.
During Kwanzaa, we celebrate the history and heritage of the African American community and the African diaspora.
Growing up, Kwanzaa was always a special time. We came together with generations of friends and family and neighbors. There were never enough chairs, so my sister and I and the other children would often sit on the floor, and together we lit the candles of the Kinara, and then the elders would talk about how Kwanzaa is a time to celebrate culture, community, and family. And they, of course, taught us about the 7 principles. My favorite principle was always the second, Kujichagulia, self-determination, the power to design your own life and determine your own future. And it is a deeply American principle, one that guides me every day as vice president. To
everyone celebrating, we hope your week is filled with love and light. From our family to yours, Happy Kwanzaa.
Cringe. The same way she starts talking about rappers and Tupac and Snoop in college and De La Soul, the same way she running around here talking about Wakanda and Killmonger or putting on Converse and Timberlands, that same cringe ass energy where it looks so fucking uncomfortable, that's the same way, even worse, when she was sitting next to Zaddy talking about Kwanzaa. First off, black folks don't even celebrate no motherfucking Kwanzaa. That ain't no foundational black American tradition. That ain't representative of certified American freedmen. This motherfucker talking about Converse, Killmonger, Kwanzaa, and collard greens. And thinks that shit's gonna move foundational black Americans. And thinks we supposed to celebrate that. And think that's some type of victory for us all. Hell to the no. Because they don't talk like that when they go in front of everybody else. Again, it's tangibles, it's policies, it's laws and benefits. When it comes to us, it's symbolism after symbolism after symbolism. Fuck that. So it isn't just the tether Uber driver. It's just not the tether clerk behind the counter at the corner store. It's also these tether politicians. And every single one of them uses our culture to get votes, to get clout, and then they turn on us and serve everybody else. So this is why we stay ahead of the game. This is why we stay regulating the game. And that's why anytime we see somebody coming in, Barrack H0-Bama 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0, all they asses is gonna get that Freedman G check, larger than life. So salute to all the brothers and sisters who've been monitoring the situation, been identifying everybody, and walking up to motherfuckers and saying, where your family from? Because when we look at this guy right here, we see that his family ain't from America. No. And since we getting further in time, the more you gotta go back and see if these motherfuckers is really freedmen. I don't want to hear nobody talking about my people came here in 1962. Well, my people was here at the foundation. Well, my folks came here in 1950. They still had to deal with the Jim Crow. Yep, and my folks had to deal with chattel slavery. All right, it ain't good enough to say that you were just here. All right, I can just go any goddamn where. Doesn't mean that I'm the originator. Doesn't mean that I'm the architect. Doesn't mean that I'm the foundation. And we got to lay that clear to every fucking body. I'm not talking about the person who came after the foundation was built. I'm talking about the people who built the foundation. One more time, let me run that back. I'm not talking about the person who came after the foundation was built. I'm talking about the people who built the foundation. And all of us right here, certified salute, we are the people who built the foundation, and we gonna make sure all the imposters, all the fakers, all the decoys, all the tethers, the fleamen and the fleers sit their ass on the outside. And one of the best ways to find out who is FBA, to find out who's really freedmen, is watch how the tethers respond. See, when the tethers start jumping up for joy and waving they fucking tether pom-poms and kicking their goddamn legs in the sky like cheerleaders, all the cheerleader tethers, When you start to see them celebrating a candidate, then that means that candidate is non-FBA. Because if not, they wouldn't be celebrating. As I said earlier, when Barrack H0-Bama, 1 Point Ho, when he won the election, the tethers went crazy. They was dancing in the street. You can look it up. They was going ape shit. Why? It's because they knew what he was really about. They knew where he was really from. They knew who he was going to really serve. And I ain't even got to make all that up. We can say it straight to the point like this. When he was asked about America, he said, quote, "This country was founded by immigrants that came in search of freedom, prosperity, and a better life for their families while contributing to the fabric of this great nation economically and culturally." End quote. That's exactly what he said. Look it up. Check it out. It's all there. Family, that's tether talk. That's Democratic shield talk. And that's some straight up bullshit. Immigrants did not find America. Foundational Black Americans created America. And anybody who talks that immigrants founded America shit is an op, just like this is an op, a Barrack H0-Bama 2.0 op. Checkmate. Okay, remind you, the first blacks is just the 100th tether, all right? That goes hand in hand. When he won, oh man, they was trying to hide his lineage. They was trying to hide his heritage. That's why it's so hard to find out. It's so hard to find out. You got to be thorough. That's what I'm saying. It's always the black grassroots who are the ones who identify it. And we're always the ones who frame that these folks is non-FBA. Because if you leave it up to the mainstream, they're going to make it look like these folks is blacker than us. And they not. But you know, we did a little study and a little research. And I seen that these tethers are jumping for joy. And why are the tethers jumping for joy? Because they know they have a non-FBA candidate that's going to place them above foundational Black Americans. That's why the tethers are jumping for joy. Always watch the tethers anytime they give you a first black. If the tethers are upset and mad, then we got an FBA Black grassroots candidate that's pissing them off. If the tethers are excited and happy, if they're in tether heaven, then they got a candidate that's going to serve them who is from a non-FBA background. So as I did my due diligence and I started to examine, monitor, and watch very carefully the way the tethers were responding to this guy, because mind you, family, I'm telling you, they have people that work for the Democrat and the Republican Party and the dominant society that sit on the internet all day long and they swipe information. They'll swipe every last thing that you can think of. If a race soldier harms a black person, they'll get that race soldier's information off the net quick as fuck. If a politician gets caught in a scandal where they're taking money on the low, they'll get that information off the internet quick as fuck. They swiping everything. How do you know? It's because there's things that I seen 2-3 years ago on the internet, pictures and everything, that when you come back to look at it again, it ain't even there no more. Now, either that shit done packed itself up and deleted itself, or somebody's on there deleting it for them. And that's what you see every time you see one of these non-FBA first blacks. They will swipe off every piece of identification for these people. Go look up Ketanji Brown Jackson and see how hard you got to search. Go look up Kamala Harris and see how hard you got to search. We at the Black Grassroots are the only ones pushing the issue. Soon as we got lineage based, they got to swiping everything off. They don't want the identity of these folks out there. They want that shit concealed. They want to just sell us first black all day long because they know we about lineage. And they know when the truth gets out and we find out these motherfuckers ain't from America, then everybody's gonna have some questions. So as I said, I did my due diligence along with my brothers and sisters, Peace and Love, Black Alpha Network, and we dug a little deeper into this Barrack H0-Bama 2.0. And as you see, they'll say, oh, he's of African American descent. Okay, well, what's an African American? You can come here from Zimbabwe tomorrow and be an African American. Where's your lineage traced back to is the real question. And then I found something. They said he is 75% African American. What the fuck does that mean? And 25% Portuguese. I ain't lying, family. Everything I'm saying right now, go look it up. They said he's 75% African American, which is still non-FBA, because typically when they say African American, they're meaning someone who's from Africa or someone who's from the Caribbean or someone from the diaspora who came here, but not somebody who's indigenous like us. Hell, Elon Musk is an African American. So when you tell me this man is 75% African American, that don't mean a goddamn thing. But beyond all that, the true teller is when you see how the tethers are responding. And boy, they happy. They smiling. They showing all they goddamn tether teeth left and right. Yes, they are. They out there about to throw a tether parade. That's how happy they are to have Barrack H0-Bama 2.0. So I found an article while I was doing my research, and it's talking about how Caribbean American legislators hail Hakeem Jeffries' elevation. Oh, yes, they do. Check it out. I'm going to read it to you. And this is from the National Weekly. So they threw this on the low. While they was on CNN talking about first black this, and they was trying to hail this as some type of victory for FBA, and they was low-key trying to say this was something for our lineage, on the low, they were releasing these little articles with everybody else who are non-FBAs, and they were celebrating. I'm gonna read this to you. Caribbean American legislators on Wednesday welcomed the election of Brooklyn, New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries as the successor of the United States House of Representatives Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi. Check this out. Congratulations, my dear friend, at Rep. Jeffries, on his historic victory to become the Democratic Party's newest leader in Congress. Tweeted Jeffries' Caribbean American colleague, Yvette D. Clark, the daughter of a Jamaican immigrant who represents the 9th Congressional District in Brooklyn. Jeffries represents the 8th Congressional District. There you go. That's tether number 1. I told you they had family. Hey, you gonna get receipts on the Black Alpha Network. You better subscribe to this channel if you ain't subscribed. Make sure you smash that like button. We working. It's a big ass family tree over here. Salute to the chat. Let's get it. That's tether number 1. We dropping receipts. It was my honor to vote for your leadership and vision, and I will proudly follow both towards the future of our party and nation, Clark added. And what has been described as a display of unity after the midterm elections in which they lost the U.S. House of Representatives but had stronger than anticipated results, Democrats on Wednesday bypassed the vote, but the acclamation elected Jeffries to be the minority leader. Checkmate. That's what they're saying. Now here's tether number 2. Rep. Jeffries is blazing a trail of a remarkable new era of Democratic leadership, and the Brooklyn Democratic Party wholeheartedly congratulates Jeffries for his victory. An elated Brooklyn Democratic Party Chair, Assemblywoman Rodney Boucher Hermlin, the daughter of a Haitian immigrant. That's what she told the Caribbean Media Corporation shortly after Jeffries' elevation. That is tether number 2, family. That's already 2 tethers right there jumping for joy. You had a Jamaican and you had a Haitian, and they was throwing a goddamn parade for Jeffries. Why? Hey, family, do y'all see any FBAs out here doing that? Do y'all hear anybody saying Sharonda from Mississippi is throwing a party? Has anybody said Michelle from St. Louis is throwing a party? Have y'all heard anybody saying Erica from Dallas is throwing a party? These ain't no FBAs celebrating this dude. Now, when you turn on the news, they talk about this at FBA, a Freedman victory. They want to attach this motherfucker to our whole lineage and our whole struggle. But that's not what I'm seeing out here in these streets. That's not who I'm hearing celebrate this. Who I'm hearing celebrate this is a bunch of non-FBA tethers. But when I turn on the news, they keep trying to make this an FBA victory. Bullshit. But we going to expose it like we always do. Certified BLACK. Moving on. Then they say Jeffries' rapid rise from humble roots to the first black. There go again. There you go. First black. They say Jeffries' rise from humble roots to the first black figure to lead a party in Congress is a testament of his staunch dedication to uplifting all Americans. Damn it. There you go. Family, what do we say? We roast these motherfuckers with their own words. We not making this shit up. We just exposing it and throwing it back to them. But we not done yet at all. They continue. With Brooklynites leading both the Democratic House and Senate, we have leadership that truly reflects and understands the needs of our diverse mosaics across America. Non-FBA. The Brooklyn Democratic Party is eager to continue advancing our borough by working with close leaders in the House and the Senate, added Boucher, whatever the fuck that person's name was, who represents the 42nd New York State Assembly District. This is a tether haven, and you hear tethers talking, and tethers is celebrating a non-FBA. I'm telling y'all, people been trying to hide what this dude is. They've been trying to hide where this dude is from. This is another FBA tether straight out of the Democratic First Black Plantation. Hey, but what they say in the movies? But wait, there's more? Yeah, there's more. Tether number 3. New York State Assembly member Brian A. Cunningham, the son of a Jamaican immigrant. It's a special day for Central Brooklyn, where the news of Rep. Jeffries' rise to House leader carries both the promise and hope that Hakeem will be the first, but not the last, leader reflective of our great community and its diversity. reflective of our community. He's talking about reflective of all the tethers out there and that great community in all its diversity. Once again, do you hear all of these all lives matter terms? Do you hear all these inclusive, everybody can come on in, open door policy terms? That again shows you what we're always talking about. This is the Democratic Party trying to ethnocide FBA, trying to replace us with the tether class and the buffer class. You see it again. So family, we got a whole list right there of this guy, Barrack H0-Bama 2.0, doing the same exact manuscript, blueprint, and program that Barrack H0-Bama 1.0 did. And as a matter of fact, when you listen to that speech, because he put out some speech where it's bizarre as hell, y'all. He's like going through the alphabet. He's like, A for this, B for this, like some fucking nursery rhyme type shit. It's lame as hell. But they're trying to champion this as some type of historic speech that'll go down in history. And they're comparing it to Barack Obama's speech in 2004 because he literally came out and did the same things. He's even walking like Obama. That real fucking wiggly, loose fucking step shit. It's weird, man. I'm telling y'all, family, these tethers are strange. One thing about foundational black Americans, man, we just regular. We exceptionally regular, all right? There ain't no additives to us. We just show up as is and we win. These motherfuckers are strange. They're oddballs. They just do some weirdo shit. And that's exactly what dude was doing. And I'm telling you, it's like he sat down and somebody put in a fucking VHS tape, pressed play and said, watch what Obama did in 2004 and you do the same thing. Y'all both for that tall, balding, light-skinned guy who's a non-FBA tether who tries to get off on black FBA culture so you can get votes, so you can come in and you can help the buffer class. It's the same exact play. I'm telling y'all, we done whooped the mainstream's ass so bad. We done got the dominant society back against the motherfucking rope so much that they are going back in time to pull out shit. They don't even come up with new con games. These motherfuckers are just recycling their old con games because every single thing they pull is not working and this shit ain't gonna work. These motherfuckers done literally went back to 2004. I'm telling you, he does a whole Barack Obama speech. I'm gonna play you Barack Obama's speech. Then I'm going to play you, excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, I done fucked up. Let me say that again. I'm going to play you Barack H0-Bama 1.0 speech from 2004. And then I'm going to play you Barack H0-Bama 2.0 speech from just a couple days ago and tell me this shit ain't the same exact thing.
If there's a senior citizen somewhere who can't pay for their prescription drugs and having to choose between medicine and the rent, that makes my life poor even if it's not my grandparent. If there's an Arab American family being rounded up without benefit of an attorney or due process, that threatens my civil liberties. It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. It's what allows us to pursue our individual dreams and yet still come together as one American family. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America.
We'll always put American values over autocracy, benevolence over bigotry, the Constitution over the cult, democracy over demagogues, economic opportunity over extremism, freedom over fascism, governing over gaslighting, hopefulness over hatred, inclusion over isolation, justice over judicial overreach, knowledge over kangaroo courts, liberty over limitation, maturity over Mar-a-Lago, normalcy over negativity, opportunity over obstruction, people over politics, quality of life issues over QAnon, reason over racism, substance over slander, triumph over tyranny, understanding over ugliness, voting rights over voter suppression, working families over the well-connected, xenial over xenophobia, yes we can over you can't do it, and zealous representation over zero-sum confrontation. We will always
Man, that shit was whack as hell. And did he go in and try to recite Obama? He tried to pull out "Yes, we can" on us. Family, did not say this was Barrack H0-Bama 2.0. And then what did he do? He went into his bag and he said, "Yes, we can," over whatever the fuck. I don't even remember because the shit was whack as fuck, lame as fuck, corny as fuck. But he went in and he tried to pull out the Barrack Obama bag on us. So when we say that they're trying to give us Barrack H0-Bama 2.0, and then he goes out and he says, "Yes, we can," that shows you and proves to you again, we don't just have receipts, we have spoilers. But I knew it was coming, and guess what? They gonna know this smoke is coming too. Damn, identical. And you notice when he went through the whole list of things, when he got to R, he didn't say reparations. I wasn't listening already, but I already knew it was gonna be some bullshit, and that further lets us know that we ain't fucking with this guy. And then he tried to incite Biggie Smalls. He says, "If you don't know, now you know." Same way how Barack Obama was coming out there trying to incite fucking Tupac or Lil Wayne or Young Jeezy or whoever the fuck he was trying to rap like. The same way how Kamala Harris was coming out here talking about Snoop Dogg and De La Soul and Phife Dawg. It's the same shit. More tether talk, tether babble, tether ranting, and that shit don't get off the ground when it comes to certified foundational Black Americans. Now, if you think that his speeches are straight out the book of Tetherville, and that shit is coming from Babylon, then family, you got to hear his policies, because he has a whole list of policies that are completely anti-FBA and completely pro-Fleedman. And I'll tell you right now, he got that Fleedman forehead too, brother. It ain't just Stephen A. Smith. He got that goddamn Fleedman forehead, and that motherfucker stretches from north to south, east to goddamn west. You need about 12 rulers, man. Matter of fact, fuck that. You need about 12 yardsticks to measure the circumference around this guy. And you know a tether when you see him. That's why the tether hairline be back so far, because they got the Fleedman forehead. You show me somebody with a Fleedman forehead, and I'm gonna show you somebody with a tether hairline. And that motherfucker stretch way the fuck back. So we see this dude coming, and trust and believe, family, we gonna continue to put on the pressure, and we gonna continue to make that press, and we gonna get everybody out the paint that does not belong in our circle, because it's all about us. It's all about everything we do, and we are at the boss's table, and we are going to make boss moves, and we're going to continue to make boss moves, and we don't give a fuck whose feelings get hurt in the process. When we're out here sticking up for our lineage, heritage, and culture, and we putting it down the proper way, then motherfuckers are just going to have to deal with it. And if they don't know, then they going to find the fuck out. Period, point blank. There's not a thing that we say that isn't accurate. Everything we say is precise and concise because we take the time to keep it 100. Everybody else, they just trying to find a shortcut. They trying to find a shortcut, hook or crook, and they just trying to get whatever they can take. We ain't on that. We know that we can build things, so therefore we have the luxury of taking our time and being real. They don't. You show me a motherfucker who's trying to rush and slide and flip all over the fucking place, I'm gonna show you somebody who's gonna be devious, low budget, bottom feeder. And that's pretty much what everybody else is. Foundational Black Americans, certified American freedmen, we take our time, we think things out, we choose our words very, very wisely, and then we go. That's what we do. And this era right here, we are the personifications of that. Everything we say happens in real time. Speaking of real time, y'all remember that Akon was just saying, Don Aquarius, okay, because y'all know he gets in the mirror every night with his bamboo stick and his fucked up hairline, his purchased FBA hairline, which is still fucked up. And he really acts like he's FBA because all of his FBA hatred comes from a place of FBA jealousy. We all know that. But y'all know that Don Aquarius, Akon, he sits in his little goddamn mirror and he talks about us. And did you see he was running his mouth about us? We roasted him, G-checked him. That's why his ass don't even show his face in America no more. Trust me, if he does, he catches a goddamn red-eye flight in the middle of the night, don't go nowhere, and gets the fuck back on his plane and goes back to Senegal. He was running his mouth about us, right? Talking that bullshit. And now you see brothers and sisters over there on the continent are calling his ass out for a whole gang of shit. It ain't just us over here calling him out. It ain't just us over here regulating, seeing through all his phony ass words, his phony ass statements, and just him being a sucker. No, you got brothers and sisters on the continent getting on his motherfucking neck. And he don't like that too much neither. So foundational Black Americans do what we do best, and that is lead by example. That is be the trendsetters and the influencers, and then you see the rest of the world start to follow. So I happened to come across a video of another tether, because we already talked about Barrack H0-Bama 2.0 and his tetherisms. Let's talk about Akon Don Aquarius and his tetherisms.
Okay, hold on. And secondly, me, I'm not South African. I'm proudly from Ghana. I love my South African people. I swear I do,
But I have one question for Akon. Just one question. Since you know a lot about South African governmental affairs, please, I beg, explain Orania to the people. Explain Orania to the people that you are talking about and you are talking to. I beg, finish building Wakanda, your city that you are trying to build, and stay your mouth out of other people's business. Idiot. Sorry, excuse for African. Idiot. Chop water. Chop.
Damn, homie. In Senegal, you was the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you? Look at that. Over there putting his nose in other people's business there. He come over here and try to speak on our affairs, and then you got a brother right there saying, keep your nose out of our business. I'm from Ghana. Speak on your own affairs. And then he says, build that Wakanda, that Akon city. The same shit that we've been calling him out on. You see, brothers and sisters is calling him out on the continent about the same thing. This motherfucker just running around the world, talking about Wakanda, talking about Akon city, stealing from folks, hating on folks, and sticking his nose in other people's business where it don't belong. So, fuck, dude. Seems like shit ain't so sweet over there in the diaspora, bruh. Seems like you need to watch your mouth when you talking about foundational black Americans, bruh. Seems like you got your hands full with all the other people on your continent that know you a grifter, bruh. You see what I'm saying? Shit always comes back full circle. Motherfucker pop their mouth about us and eventually they get G-checked by their own people. So you see he's been grifting every goddamn where. Everywhere he shows up, he takes that backstabbing culture. Now, he may point his finger at foundational black Americans, but it's evidently clear that everybody else is pointing their fingers at his ass. Damn shame. Damn shame. He over here buying FBA lace fronts with that money he done stole. He over here buying FBA lace fronts with all them resources he done took away. They over there asking him, where's all of our resources, Akon? Where you get the money for that lace front? I've starved for 3 weeks and you walk around here with this sheet. The fuck out of here. You better handle your own business, homie. See, it can't always be FBA who's out here carrying the weight. It can't always be FBA who's out here exposing everybody. Sometimes we need to sit back and just enjoy some tether on tether crime. Enjoy some Fleedman on Fleedman crime. Enjoy some coon on coon crime. Mind you, these folks ain't always just coming after us. These motherfuckers can't stand each other. They live in a place of misery. And that misery stays with them everywhere they go. Trust me, if foundational black Americans didn't ever say the word tether again, these motherfuckers would still be fighting each other. They still be at each other's necks. That's why every time you turn on the TV, they got conflict all over the goddamn continent, all throughout the fucking Caribbean. They only take their hate, their jealousy, and their spite on us because we're the only ones actually out here doing shit. We're the only ones out here making accomplishments. So that's why they focus on us so much. But trust and believe, their hands don't reach as high as we are. So therefore, in the meantime and in between time, they got to focus on each other. And it's been proven every single time they focus on each other, that shit turns out bad. So we're going to be over here getting to the money and getting to the reparations. Ain't no Don Aquarius. All right, ain't no Barrack H0-Bamas, ain't no Fleedman foreheads gonna get in our goddamn way. And we gotta regulate this shit, family, because, you know, these tether and these buffer policies, that shit ain't sweet at all. That shit ain't sweet at all. Did you see our brothers and sisters out there in Chicago when they was calling out the Lori left, whatever the fuck, that weird looking motherfucking mayor out there in Chicago? Did you see the brothers and sisters who got together and said, man, fuck that. You ain't gonna be having policies that keep elevating all these other groups above us. I'm telling y'all, this is the new era. This new era, it ain't about that bullshit. You got folks who aren't even in the black grassroots and they tired of this shit. I told you, down here in the South, one of the things that I've seen that is actually changing the political discourse of this country is I'm seeing black folks who are now being influenced by us. It's not the old black folks who are just being influenced by Clyburn. They're not being influenced just by Vanessa Jones and the Democratic Party. No, the black grassroots, our range is so long that we're affecting the young folks and the older folks. I know we talk about them old Negroes, but that's a mentality. The elders out here, or the folks who may not be, you know, as politically savvy as we are, when we sit down and we talk to them and we start saying reparations, we start saying tangibles, we start telling them the Democrats ain't never done shit for us. Now they looking at the Democratic Party and say, yeah, man, fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. And a lot of them will admit, man, I've been voting Democrat for years. And I just did it because my mama told me to do it. Or I just did it because that's what the pastor or the preacher or the deacon told me to do. Now I'm sitting there saying, man, fuck them. And that's what I'm saying. The black grassroots, we done put the deacon out of business, the pastor out of business, we done put the reverend out of business, the whole motherfucking black churches out of business. They don't influence shit no more. Look at all the people that we done put out of business. Motherfuckers that used to have the black community in a headlock, in a stranglehold. The same motherfuckers that was always trying to lead us in the wrong direction, we got them all out the paint. When was the last time somebody ran around here and said, well, the pastor said? Man, nobody give a fuck about what the pastor said, unless the pastor talking reparations. And at the end of the day, we know that is few and far in between. So guess what? We are calling the shots. We're the influencers now. Motherfuckers just gonna have to live with it, family. Put that belt on. Rock that motherfucker. Show it. Shine it. That's what it is. We are the ones doing the influencing. We are the ones calling the shots. We are the ones making the moves, and we gonna act like it. I tell black folks all the time, when you a winner, act like it. A winner has a certain step, a certain bop when they move. You walk with your chest out, your chin up. See, black folks used to walk with their heads down and all defeated. We don't do defeatedisms over here. All right, this is all about winning. And since we are the ones out here making the boss moves, then we're going to act like bosses. Since we are the champions out here, we're going to act like champs. We're going to conduct ourselves with the behavior that is conducive to the moves that we are making. And that is certified. That is the black grassroots. That is thorough. And everybody else can hold this L. They can take their pink slip. They can go to the Coon unemployment office. They can try to go get them a new job. They can do whatever they want to do. But one thing for sure, they can't step up in here because we control all of this. So salute to our brothers and sisters out there in Chicago that was holding it down. Matter of fact, let me play the clip, y'all. Listen to this. This is our brothers and sisters. And I'm sure some of these folks ain't on Twitter. Some of these folks ain't tapped all the way in. But I guarantee you they're getting the message. I guarantee you what we start at the black grassroots, it travels fast and it's traveling to all of these people. So listen to our brothers and sisters putting their foot down saying, we ain't about that bullshit with all that immigration in Sanctuary City.
I'm here because I am a child of Woodlawn. I was born and raised in Woodlawn. And I'm speaking on behalf of the people that are here and the ones that's not here, the ones that's at work and couldn't make it here. We are very disappointed in this decision that Mayor Lightfoot has made to place these migrants in our community without our permission. Mayor Lightfoot would never pull this type of thing in anyone's neighborhood. She would not drop off a busload of Haitians in Little Village. She would not drop off a busload of black people in Chinatown. She would not drop off a busload of black people up north. Never. So it's time for Mayor Lightfoot to understand we will no longer be disrespected by you, ma'am. Please withdraw your decision to put the migrants in our community.
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Not everybody is directly tapped in to the black grassroots, but everybody is feeling our fire. Yes, they are. We are reaching folks that go beyond Twitter. We reaching folks that go beyond YouTube. It's an energy. I was saying that before. Y'all know what I'm talking about. There's an energy of black brothers and sisters out here. We tired. We fed up. We ain't with the bullshits no more. We with the shits, but we ain't with the bullshit. We checking motherfuckers on site. As I said, we laying that FBA smackdown. And everybody's gonna catch wreck if they ain't in check. And I'm loving it right now. We got to continue that momentum. We got to continue putting in that work, and we got to continue to grind. We understand this is all business. This is all business. We've been leaving the emotions at the door. I just held the Twitter space the other day with my brother Marcel and Beatzilla, and we spoke about how it's about business. It's about negotiation. We don't come to the negotiation table with a big ass heart. We don't go to the negotiation table with our feelings. You leave all that shit at the house. When you step out the door, you grab your motherfucking briefcase, you put on your suit and tie, you leave as a foundational black American freedman who's ready to conduct foundational black American freedman work. And it's all about business, getting deals done. It's not about working with another group, it's about dealing with the other group. When you sit down at the boss's table and that politician is on that side of the table and we are on this side of the table, we ain't got to be friends with these motherfuckers. See, that's the old thing. We got to get that old notion out of our head. And this is why a lot of black folks get so into their feelings and their emotions. And they say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work with him. How can we deal with this person? Family, you're going to always have to deal with somebody somewhere. At your job, you're going to have to deal with somebody. You're going to have a boss. You're going to have coworkers. And you ain't got to like them motherfuckers. Like I always say, they can work the goddamn fries. You can do the milkshake. Soon as we off the clock, I clock out. You go left. I go right. And we ain't got to motherfucking talk. That's the way the game goes. That's business. This thing where everybody you do business with, you have to love? No, the fuck we don't. I only love our foundational Black American family tree and everybody who's on code. Everyone else is just a motherfucker I see. I might not even hear them. They could talk, but I might not even hear the motherfucker. I may see you, but I see you just enough to get the deal done. I see you just enough to get the reparations. I see you just enough for you to cut the motherfucking check. We ain't got to see Joe Biden's. We ain't got to see Kamala Harris or Donald Trump's. We ain't got to see none of these motherfuckers. We could see around them or see through them. But at the end of the day, I better see that check on that motherfucking table written in foundational Black American handwriting, and it better have a whole lot of zeros on it. As long as that's being done, I'll sit down and talk to any motherfucker. But no matter what's being said, I guarantee you will have the best benefit to my people, my lineage, my heritage, and my culture. Certified salute to the family. Yes, indeed. We've been laying that certified foundational Black American smackdown on anybody who's out of pocket, off code, or off brand, and we're going to continue to do that because that's the type of time that we are on. It's always good breaking it down and chopping it up with y'all. Family, I'm telling you, we are starting off this year with a blaze. Non-stop, no days off. Everybody is out here putting it down. We all have a bunch of different expertise. We all are professionals in our own ways. And when you put all that together collectively, man, y'all know what we get done. Y'all know what we get done. And I know so much about this family tree, and I believe in so much of this family tree that I know nothing can ever stop us. Never that, not at all. We go hard in the paint. Facts on facts. But one thing for sure, family, and two things for certain. No matter where we go, no matter what building we step in, every room you step in, understand if you're a foundational Black American, you the best person in the room. Yup, no matter what. Can't nobody match you. Can't nobody see you. You are above all. Our resume cannot be compared to nobody because we are unmatched. That's why I always say we are unbreakable, check. We are untouchable, check. And if you look around right now on your timeline, television, step out the house, walk down the street, go to the corner store, you will see that we are stronger than ever, and I am proud to be a part of it. But most importantly, I am proud to be in it with all of y'all, my certified Black Society family. One love. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all stay good, stay safe, and stay vigilant. Thank you for supporting the Cash App. Y'all know I would say that a million times, man. Thank you for taking your time out and rocking with me. I am definitely only humbled by my family tree, and everybody else, middle fingers up. Yes, indeed. Y'all stay good, though, man. I'm going to tap on out, man. We'll catch you on the other side, and we're going to continue to work, and we're going to continue to give them that FBA smackdown. Damn, man. Hey, I almost don't even want to go. I could stay here for another hour, but I ain't going to hold y'all up, man. Thanks for spending your night with me. Everybody stay good out there, man. Certified salute from the Black Alpha Network. Love y'all with a passion. Remember one thing and one thing always. Black is beautiful, and beautiful is always black.